Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. No. I think I start bad. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Caribbean Content Creators. Today we're joined by a man who knows how to keep the party going all night long. He's a Caribbean DJ and producer hailing all the way from Trinidad and Tobago. With over 2 million downloads on his SoundCloud channel and podcast, he's been serving up some seriously fire beats and getting audiences grooving to his rhythm. Please put your hands together for the one and only DJ KiddFrost.
Yo, that wasn't bad.
You know who wrote that for me?
Who?
ChatGPT.
The good old AI? You lie.
Yeah.
You know so much about me?
Yeah, well, all I was able to do is, kind of get him a profile, copy a bio from different places, plug it in there, and I say, well, give me a fire intro for this DJ that coming to the show.
Big up the AI.
So DJ KiddFrost has been tearing up dance floors and filling the airwaves with his signature sound, blending Caribbean rhythms with modern beats to create a truly unique listening experience. He's not just a DJ, he's a master at engaging his audience and creating an unforgettable party atmosphere.
Wow.
Yeah. So, whether all that for the good old ChatGPT. Mark, it's a pleasure to have you here today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, our relationship goes far back. And I just want to tell the listener that whether you are a YouTuber, Instagram, TikToker, DJ KiddFrost is a good guy to listen to today. He is going to tell us about his creative process, his SoundCloud work that he has. In terms of like what that would be. That would be like your soca music.
That would be everything. That would be actually SoundCloud is my platform that I prioritize in terms of content, other than Instagram and like Facebook, where Instagram is, your pictures and your captions. But in terms of the content that is tailored to me, it would be SoundCloud. So that's why I find my mixes, remixes, edits, and so forth.
Man.
That SoundCloud is like my priority.
Okay.
Over YouTube. I'm also on YouTube, but SoundCloud is that.
All right, fantastic, Mark. And I just want to kind of rewind in time. When we first met,
wow.
it was you were a student doing your undergraduate studies in computer science, and you immediately stood out as a hard worker to me. I didn't even know you were in the DJ realm and that type of work. But I remember you doing a course in web programming.
Yeah.
And you didn't even have to do that course. It wasn't even required.
Correct. So I paid... So in order to graduate, we had to do, I think it was 6 courses, and the final project was something like that. And I picked up web as the 7th course additional. So I paid for that. It wasn't covered by the tuition. And I didn't even get like a certificate to say that I completed this, but I just did it. And, Lyndon was my lecturer.
I hope you learn at least one thing.
Man, you're one of the greatest lecturers I ever had.
Oh,
like,
gosh.
I wouldn't even lie. So Lyndon actually taught me how to program. He was actually there for my final project as well for both semesters. And then we just kind of built a relationship from there. And even after, we would communicate back and forth about, programming. And then it was like, he taught me programming, and then I gave him advice on YouTube. So it just worked hand in hand. Yeah. Which was amazing. So,
and I know you're a modest guy, but I just want to put it out there that you graduated from the University of Greenwich with first class honors. And it's fantastic. You're one of the people... You stand out in terms of burning the midnight oil. That's how I remember you.
Yeah.
I would be leaving school and you would be sitting down in the cafeteria there doing your programming. And I remember you as a very self-sufficient guy. You would ask questions, but I could remember the good old Stack Overflow, you're pulling it up for programming.
Yeah, boy.
Code.
That's because, the same way that I would have approached my studies, the same way that I would have approached DJing. Which is, I try to do as much as I can on my own, not really depending on others, because there's so much information out there. And as much as, you'll have a lecturer or a teacher or a mentor, they can't spoon feed you for the whole thing. Eventually, you kind of stand on your own and, as you say, be self-sufficient and break down walls, cross bridges, find that strength in yourself to, get to that next place. So it's challenging because, you could have somebody helping you out, and you could probably cut down a couple of years from getting to where you want to be. But I think the achievement of getting somewhere on your own, you could say that you did that, even though, you give credit to those who would have helped you with that foundation. But to get to that next step,
it's really, I like what you're saying about this balance between being self-sufficient, even as a content creator, but then recognizing that there's some bridges that you just really need some help to cross. And that was my own experience with being a programmer. I purchased books online. Back then, I didn't even know about Amazon. It was a site called All Books for Less.
Wow. I think I remember that.
Yeah, and I purchased a programming book, and then you realize you're not going anywhere with it, and you just need teaching. You need a tutor.
Yeah.
So I want to come back to the idea of education in a bit, but so let's kind of skip the introduction. You tell me a little bit about your story in terms of how you got into music production, and I'm particularly interested in, as you mentioned, your SoundCloud and your career as a wedding DJ.
Well, we had to go way back. Way back. We're speaking about probably, let's say, 2006-ish, somewhere around there. What happened was, I grew up surrounded by music. And I tell people this all the time. When my mom was pregnant with me, she listened to music all the time. And when I was born, there would be the neighbors playing music, or there would be a radio on, older brothers listening to music, playing music from the car. So I grew up around that. And then where I'm living, every so often, or every weekend, you see hear the mic man, the cars going around playing the songs, because, they'll be pulling a wedding or making announcements. So it started there being, exposed to so much music. And then it was about 2006, 2007, somewhere around there. I heard my first DJ mix, and I was like, yo, this scratching and the way that they're manipulating the music is so cool. And I was like, yo, I want to do that. I didn't understand nothing, but I was just like, how do you make this song happen with, a song, the sound of scratching and going from song to song and making it exciting? And then I started to download like virtual DJ software. So it started with something called PC DJ, then Atomics, then Virtual DJ. And I started to try to replicate what I heard on the radio and in that mix using the software. And it took me a long time because it was the same thing. It was like, I'm young, I'm a kid, and don't really know that many DJs around me. But what I could do is, all right, let me start to break this down, see what's doing what. And eventually it'll be like, oh, this does that. So you can get closer and closer to the sound that you're trying to hear on the radio. You making that song happen again. And I rocked virtual DJ for years. As in, I was actually getting paid to DJ in events.
So this is laptop only?
Laptop only.
Software.
Keyboard. And we going on around the party. And then I decided, you know what? The standard is the next software, which is Serato. And I was like, I had to go onto Serato. So while I was attending SBCS, doing my undergrad, I began invigilating exams. So it would be like, I would go to class, go invigilate 2 exams, and then study. And I saved up that money. Plus, at the same time, I was working in a grocery. And the money that I would have saved up, I bought my first DJ controller. And that was the first step into Serato. And after that, I flipped it. I bought a next one, and I just kept upgrading until I got to the Pioneer DDJ. I think it's the SX1 or something like that. And that is when I started to get more into the technical side of DJing, actually scratching and mixing and stuff like that with something in front of me. And after that, I bought 1200s, which is the old record players. So I bought a pair, I restored it, I brought it back. And throughout this entire time, like I was just working on my craft while still getting bookings. So the takeaway from that is you don't need to be perfect in order to monetize what you're doing. You just had to be confident, and you had to allow yourself to go out there because, if you could do it, you can, And that was the start there. And then through that time, like I was doing birthday parties, graduations, school stuff, and started to host my own parties. Then from there, I was doing a live stream online as well. All of that was taking place. And then fast forward to 2014, 2015, started to DJ in clubs. Then I got on the radio, the first radio station. That would have been Star 947. And then from there, then it was Guyana, then New York, Connecticut. Now we have Orlando. So after Star, took a break, dropped onto Lit 102.3. And all this time was during COVID. And this time, like I even had Twitch going on. I had live stream on Instagram. So it was a lot of things that were taking place in order to build the brand and build the identity. And now, like my priority in terms of DJ stuff is weddings and traveling, international stuff. So to summarize that entire thing, we're talking about a journey that started almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 2006 to 2023.
Yeah.
You're grinding.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not like an overnight thing. And the reason why I went about it the way that I did is, I wanted to build something that would last, that people would see the value in. And one of the things, because of the industry that I'm in, everything has a season. Music, although it is timeless, there's a time for everything. And when I was a young guy, on events, I would listen to the veterans or the established ones, the seasoned ones, and be like, yo, I want to do that too. Instead of just staying within my scope of whatever music was popular that time for my friends, I was like, yo, I want to come to an event where there's a crowd that I don't even know. I want to be able to do that. So I started to build that learning about music, learning to mix differently other than scratching, just blending tunes, storytelling, all of the attributes of DJing that over that time there, that's what I was focused on. But what is important, equally important as learning, those things, you also need to go through a lot of rights and wrongs, lessons being learned. So, I would have started off, mixing EDM music. That was my first genre. And now, my main genre is soca. And I'm what we consider open format DJ, where, you play everything up to Indian film songs. I can mix that too. And throughout that time, it's gaining experience, networking, definitely going through a lot of lows, but enjoying those highs as well now, and kind of knowing that, they don't last forever. They don't last long.
Definitely. And we'll get to those lows in a little bit, because I could imagine a 16 or a 20-year journey. It must have quite some lows in it, right? I'm kind of curious to hear two things before we get to the wedding DJing aspect. Was you say you started on virtual DJing using software, and then you would have made some investments in hardware.
Yeah.
Looking back, were those investments necessary for you to graduate from software to a hardware type setting? Because I'm thinking about the person who's the youth that's listening to this, and is software, can I stay there, or to grow, do I need to make certain investments in myself along the lines of hardware?
Yeah. To answer that question, like real simple, if you're passionate about something, then you will do as much as you can to invest in it. If you're genuinely passionate about something, it could be being a plumber, it could be being a writer, content creator. If you have that passion, like that genuine, undeniable passion that, you want to make it, you want to be where you envision yourself being, then you do whatever it takes to get there. Because I'm pretty sure if I didn't make those investments when I did, I wouldn't have been where I am now. So if you're coming up, no matter what realm you are in, I think that is where you're going to really go and ask yourself the question, if you are passionate about this, and if you have the drive and you're willing to see it through, and that determination, you will be like, yo, we have to do this. This is necessary. So to anybody coming up, guys, ask yourself that question. Literally, just ask yourself that question. How passionate are you about this? How much are you willing to sacrifice? Because I could have taken that same money I was going to invest in equipment and just be like, all right, let me just put this in a savings, or let me take a trip, or let me go online. Let me spend it on something that doesn't make sense. So it's sacrificing those things to buy a microphone, to buy a mixer, to buy a light. So, and that's when you really start to be like, that's when you can say, I am passionate about this.
So what was one of the first investments you would recommend somebody who's thinking about a career in DJing that they make? They have virtual DJ at home. They have the latest software.
Yeah. Well, now compared to when I was getting into it have a lot more better equipment out there that is a lot more cheaper. So you could pick up something on Amazon for like $250 US, and you could hold on to that for years.
But what type of equipment are we talking about here?
Controllers, little DJ controllers, probably like a little bigger than this. And you could do everything on that you could do on a piece of equipment that costs 15,000, 20,000, 30,000.
So here's what we'll do for the listener, right? After this show, you will send me a link to a mixer that you think is a good investment for someone to make, and I'll put the links down in the show notes.
Check it out.
Yeah. so tell me a little bit about how you got your. I know I'm picking your brain here.
Yeah.
But how you were able to book your first job as a wedding DJ?
Ooh, as a wedding DJ. Yo, so to get to that point, you gotta go back. You gotta go back. So when I was now coming up in the game, this is like 2011. It was during the first, well, not the first, but you know, that curfew, that 2011 curfew.
Yeah, wow, yeah. It took me a while to remember that.
Yeah. So during that time, you know, before we get to that, I want to, because we're going back to that time, I want to give people some gems here. You know, a lot of people saw the 2011 curfew as, so much things going wrong and it's a very big negative and all these different things. You know, that 2011 curfew is one of the moments that projected my DJ career. Not because of gigs or anything like that, but because everybody is in curfew. I think the curfew was like 10 in the night or something. Everybody had to be home. So what was I doing? I was streaming music online.
Bravo, boy, Mark, boy, bravo.
Yeah. And from doing that, I got my first DJ gig, which was DJing in a bar down in Shogunas in Lower 5. And, you know, they agreed to pay us. And all of the money that we actually made from that event, we spent it to rent lights. Like, we didn't pocket any of that money. We were just like, you know, we come to the event, we rent lights and a fog machine to make it even more, you know, exciting because it was a Halloween party. And the guy that did the rental for the lights and the fog machine is the one who hired me for my first wedding. So look how that worked out. So that is like mind-blowing when you think about it in terms of how did I get my first wedding booking, because he also did sound systems. I went to the first wedding I got booked for, not as DJ KiddFrost, but the guy who got the wedding booking to do the sound system was like, yo, I have a DJ too if you're interested. And that is where it began. So to go from that to where I'm now, like, yeah, that's where it started. And it's a very big difference now compared to then. Because back then, you know, I got hired for my first wedding because somebody just needed a DJ. But now, when people hire me for a wedding, they want KiddFrost. So yeah, to be able to see that transition. And that's another gem to content creators and people who are their own brand and influencers. You know, do they want somebody who could set up podcasting equipment, or do they want Lyndon Baptiste? You know, if you want somebody to come and sing in your party, or you want Marshall, you gotta be able to take your brand from there and create that. So that's what that from 2011 to now, that is what it's been. Straight up.
Man, you're raising my paws listening to you. And there's really some gems there. You describe it well. And I'm kind of curious about this idea of a brand and what you see as the components of it, what you bring into the table as KiddFrost.
So, you know, that, funny enough, I was thinking about that this morning. And it is a decision or differentiating between, do you want to be someone that people are attracted to or someone that people can relate to? Think about that.
Someone that you're attracted to or someone that you could relate to.
Yeah.
I guess I should aspire to someone that you could relate to.
Yeah. Because, you know, attraction is this. Like, think about it. You go in the grocery and you see a box of cereal with the most elaborate packaging. And it has lasers and lights and ting. And when you look at it, inside that box is just a bag of sugar.
Sorry. I just pictured lasers on that cereal box.
Yeah, that's like, all that. It's like, it caught my attention. you're walking on the island, that's all you can see.
Yeah, lasers on cereal boxes.
But then, you know, when you read it, okay, you just have a bag of sugar inside here, boy. Thing. But it captures your attention. But then, you know, you go down a bit more, you see simple packaging, and then you read, and I was like, yo, this could actually help with, you know, the cholesterol and heart health. And, you know, don't have as much sugar. It's good for you. It could keep you full. You get all these vitamins and minerals. Be like, yeah, this is what I want. And that is what I focus on being.
But as a content creator, are you aware of what those elements are? Because my personal experience is that, you know, I just am me. But to say I have a clear picture of what that represents. And I believe there are people that I could relate to as a content creator, they could relate to me. But I've never been able to kind of, you know, solidify exactly what the elements of that.
Yeah. So for me, I'll be honest with you, the bottom of that hierarchy is being a DJ in terms of components and relating to people. So DJs relate to DJs, but to the average person, they not really go and relate to that much in terms of the whole scope of it. So on top of that, what I would use is my story. And the ultimate go-to every single time is just reminding people that as much as you are who you are and you do what you do, all of we are human beings, you know. All of us, we pay bills, we get belly walks, we experience heartaches, we experience struggles, we all go through it. And that is the story that I tell. Like, even if you go on my social media, like, you could go through my Instagram, like, no lie, and you could see what is me as DJ KiddFrost marketing that. And you could see me as a human being saying, yo, yeah, things tough. Or we just, this is more than just saying, yo, I's a DJ. Not every single post is about, look at this and say, oh, he's a DJ, we should hire him. You'll be like, yo, I going through the same thing that this person going through. I feel the same way that they do. And that is me. That is a big part of me.
And as a content creator, you think it's important to show the different dimensions?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, you know, you could be a content creator and you could just be creating content for your niche in a very generic business, finance focused way. Like, you get paid to sell this. And just like, guys, this is the best piece of foam sponge that you could afford right now. If you buy it right now, look in my description. And in the description, you'll find a link, 10% off. This is what I use, so be sure to check them out. So, Lyndon, I'm working on the podcasting, right? And since I start, this is one of the first purchases I made. I'm going to tell you, the audio quality that I have here, it's a lot better, and I'll be real with you. I had to choose between buying this and buying an next microphone. And you see this is what win. So, for sure, it benefit me a lot. And if you're looking to start, put this on top of your list. Study everything I have after.
Link in the description. Yeah, that's powerful what you're talking about there. That's storytelling, boy.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned it earlier, you talk about storytelling and DJing, and then I was kind of curious. It sent up an alarm, but I can't do something else, the software and the first purchase, and it really stood out that because that captured my attention because I believe in storytelling.
Yeah. Well,
and I do it through my vlogs in terms of I see all my videos as connected. Even though you're watching an independent piece, there are certain elements that might shine through, or you might mention something from another episode.
Yeah.
So that the fans, you know, who they follow in your journey, they say, oh, there's a reference to a particular conversation back then or event. So thanks very much for and that was a brilliant sales pitch. You know, you actually make me feel to go out and buy some more foam.
Yeah,
but I get the idea of the storytelling where you bring you into it. And your personal experience and sharing. You know, there's something beautiful about passing on experience and wisdom to people where you could be. And that's the role you play in here by being part of this podcast.
Yeah.
That you're coming along and you're sharing your experiences. So let's talk about you're a content creator. you mentioned SoundCloud
Right.
as your main thing, and I'm really excited about getting that. But just in a bit, let's talk a little bit about the content creator and the human being and the struggles you're going through right now in that capacity with, your content management, your DJing, traveling. What's your story right now in terms of struggles that you're facing?
Boy, right now, oh gosh, our real stories for you today, boy.
Yeah,
So,
and let's couch it for the listener who is the content creator.
yeah. So, I could just tell you straight out, but I had to go back to understand where I'm at right now. So, COVID happened, and I wasn't making any money. None. The only thing that I would have made was from radio. That was my only income. So I didn't have no gigs, I had no weddings. That was it. No traveling, nothing. And when
Wait, hold on. You were talking about the live streams. Those live streams were something that you were doing during COVID
Yeah.
that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, but you're not generating any revenue from those live streams. That's just getting your name out there.
that was that.
Okay, good.
So yeah, COVID happened. We were doing live streams, wasn't really seeing any kind of income coming from it. And after about a year, I was like, yo, COVID is here. We can't hold strain anymore. Because I was trying to do from I think March or April 2020, straight till about 2021. And we was waiting for vaccines or solutions for things to open up. And that was nowhere in sight. So I went and I got a job. I got a corporate job, office job. It's pretty funny. And then I did that for a good amount of time. And then the industry started to open back up. Flights started to happen. We could have traveled again. We could have gotten back to that place. And while that was going up, life got really, really, really demanding and frustrating me because bookings are coming back, gigs are coming back, events are coming back. I'm working a full-time job, corporate job with responsibilities and demands. And on top of that, I was working 5 times on radio. So it would be wake up, corporate job, take lunch, deal with emails and content and bookings, back to the corporate job, go to radio, finish at 9 p.m., come home, watch 1 or 2 episodes of Law & Order, rinse, repeat for months. And then, it was too much on me to the point where I was getting burnt out by Tuesday, Wednesday, as in the week starts on Sunday or Monday, whoever you ask. By Wednesday, I was done. But that didn't stop me from having to go to work, go to radio, go to my corporate job, and build my own DJ stuff. And when October came, they terminated my position. They actually outsourced my position to an agency. And, I saw it coming because you can't serve 3 masters at once. And, I still have a great relationship with that company that I work for. And, the managing director was like, yo, they just had to make this move for the company. They see the stuff that I was doing and they realized that I couldn't handle it. And because I couldn't handle it, the company would have been suffering. And it was like, straight up, whenever you want to get a corporate job again, just come back. But anyways, so October came. This is when my DJ stuff was beginning to peak since COVID. I got the letter terminating my job on, I think, the Tuesday of that week. And then the Thursday, I was on a flight going to New York for events. And after that, came back November, Christmas, non-stop. After Christmas, Carnival, the first Carnival since COVID, non-stop. And even after Carnival, when I was like, all right, cool, Ash Wednesday going to happen, things going to go right down. I could take a breather from all of that, from losing one source of income and trying to make it up with the DJ stuff. I was like, yo, I can take a break. And then there was a month after that where it was like, same thing, weddings, private stuff. I was here, there, and everywhere. Content creating, set up for some, all these different things. And then this weekend makes it a month since I decided to stop doing everything. take a full break. I was like, yo, kind of acknowledge what would have taken place when you lost that source of income and how much you were grinding to try to remake that in your DJ stuff and your bookings and your content creation. And in that space of time, I pulled back and I was looking around and I was like, what are you really doing, bro? Why you just grinding and grinding and grinding and your only focus is making money? And boy, when I realized that, it put a lot of things into perspective for me. Because as content creators, yeah, we had to eat. We had to monetize and make money from this thing that we're doing because of the amounts of effort and years of dedication that you would have put into it. But when that is all you could see, that is when you're the most blinded. And it actually kills the creativity in you because now you're choosing between creating, being yourself, or collecting a salary, collecting a payment. And that's what I've been doing since. So I said, you know what? We're going to put a pause to that. Catch yourself. I guess acknowledge what would have taken place in October, because that happened, and 2 days later I was on a flight going to New York to do events. Started get back my identity, started get back my energy and a sense of me. And that's why I look in the way that I'm looking right now. Like I was telling them before. If you see me outside, fresh mark, fresh feed, everything, I'm just like, yo, this is where I've been for the last month. Just staying behind the scenes, going to radio. That's the only place that people could, hear of me. I'm not doing any events. I'm not doing any weddings. I'm not nothing. If you want to see me anywhere, it's just whatever I post on Instagram and hear me on the radio. That's it. I'm not even like going to social gatherings. I'm not liming, not just home and radio and gym. That's it. And being in that low, you kind of, the momentum and everything that would have been there from before, that just got pulled from under you. Because you had an intention, you had a goal. The goal was to make money and, I guess, recover from COVID. And you pull that away. And it's like, yo, what are you really supposed to be doing out here, boy? Like, what brings you fulfillment? What makes you happy? Is it getting money? That is the most fulfilling thing about what you're doing. And then it's like, yo, where in that is really you expressing you? Like, to your fullest capacity or whatever. Because you get hired to get to do a job, you show up and, you start doing the bare minimum. Because if you give 100 or if you get 50, it's the same money again. It's the same. That's it.
So, Mark, while you're going through this, your problems is not financial problems. You're out there grinding.
Yeah.
You're making money and it's kind of making up for your loss of your corporate job. Yeah. Is it that you felt like you were starved from the experience during COVID and you just wanted to make up, or because I could relate to what you're talking about from the point of view of in 2022. My ambitions, I started thinking about what I'm doing here, particularly as a business, and I suffered the same thing that you're talking about. And I stopped creating content for a while because I was on the opposite end of the spectrum to you. In terms of you getting gigs, but nothing was kind of actually working out for me that I could say monetize. But because my mind was so taken up with, I should be making money from what I'm doing here as a content creator, but I wasn't. And when, and that's cool, but because I was so taken up with it really killed my creativity.
Yeah, that will make you sick. It'll make you depressed.
But isn't the weird thing that you actually doing what you love, but because the emphasis is on the money from it, that you just kind of take away the zeal and the joy from it. And, I'll tell you what kind of brought me back. And I'm kind of curious to hear what, when you talk about taking a break, you mentioned the gym, you mentioned that you're doing radio only. One of the things that I started to do was talk to other content creators through this podcast.
That helped you?
Yeah, and Stefan Fellmine, when he came and we went up into Cora and we visited another YouTuber who could call Farmer Harry. And by doing that and seeing people just kind of, yes, they probably have a business aspect of it, but you kind of felt the passion reignite. Even
Yeah.
listening to your story here now, and
I get that.
Yeah, because when you're right, when you go there, you post a picture on Instagram and people see the flair that goes into your work, but that there's a human behind it.
Yeah.
So what has this last month been for you, like, in terms of what are you slowly discovering about yourself as you go to the gym and focus on radio only?
I realized a lot of things in the last month, bruv. Like, honestly, aside from from pulling back, I'm gonna tell you this as a brethren. If we make it to the podcast and make it to the people, you're gonna get secrets about me over the past couple of months. So it started with, I want to put this in a very politically correct way. I sacrificed the attention, and this is going to be real. This is going to be real. I sacrificed the attention and companionship of females because I bring that up because, they say that in our line of work, DJs are dogs and females all over the place and blah, blah, blah. And I've never been that person. And I guess that's why my brand is the way it is. But anyways, but that was the first thing because I've been single for a really long time. A really, really long time. So I'd have friends and, kind of get close with people, just not be alone, I guess. And that was the first thing that came to end. So I started to hold my own ground by myself. After that, it was cutting out alcohol. So I haven't had alcohol in over a month. And I'm not like an alcoholic, the same way that I approach a females, but I need females or whatever. But, alcohol for me was, I would go to an event because I still get nervous and I would take 2 drinks just to kind of mellow the nerves and free up a little bit to be that thing that I'm selling. And I gave up those things. And in doing that, I was able to pull back and sacrifice things in my life that kind of kept me afloat in a sense to get through life and get through whatever struggles that I was having. And being able to do that now in terms of alcohol for over a month and just kind of pulling back from social interactions for a bit more than a month, you kind of realize that you have that strength in you to do something that you never thought you could have done. You kind of had a dependency or you had a safety net to get through whatever felt really hard to you at that point in time. That just felt as though there's no other way to go through this than to, do it the way that you were doing. As in, you come home from a long day, you're tired, it's just you alone in your bedroom, just want to have a conversation with somebody, that's gone. I stopped drinking, and the first thing after that decision was going to Guyana to perform with Rome in Burbies. And bro, that was the time I missed the most. Not like, wait, boy, I'm feeling nervous here, but first time I'm going in Burbies, I'm DJing for Rome, but it has so many things that could go wrong. People might know me, they might not know me. I had to go and DJ first before Rome comes, want to build the vibe and stuff like that. And it's like all those things going on in your mind. And then usually I'll just be like, all right, cool, I'm going to take a little 2 thing and, free up and just have a vibe. And I did that. And I came back from Ghana and I was like, yo, I did that. And that is kind of like what reignited me and sent me in a different direction. Having those little wins and being able to look back after and be like, yo, I did that. You kind of, the validation or the strength that you was seeking elsewhere, you started finding it in yourself. And it's like you started the journey thinking, how are I going to do this, boy? How are I going to literally hold my own vibes in my own corner and experience being lonely, pulling back on human interaction? How are you going to go and do events and perform while those nerves and that overthinking is getting the better of you? And you did that. And when you can look at those wins, as I tell you, you just kind of feel like nothing can get in your way, boy. To have nothing that could stop you, even though you might be the reason that you're stopping yourself. You could rise up and say, yo, I could do this, boy. I could find the strength in myself to push through a little longer, to believe in myself a little longer. And once you have that victory within you, you don't need it from anywhere else. You don't need it from getting a salary or getting an endorsement, getting likes, getting views, getting streams. Because the only person that you're pleasing now is yourself. You're not doing it for anybody else. You're not, because you have a certain amount of subscribers on YouTube. You get validation from brands that probably want to collaborate with you, or other collaborators, or random people who don't even know you that will look at those numbers and say, oh, thumbs up, we rocking with you. But now I've gotten to this place where I'm trying to align everything else in my life with those wins. Winning for me. And that's where I'm at right now, where I kind of like, I literally stripped everything else away from my life except for doing radio. And that's what it's been. And well, gym. And I stripped away the socializing because I was out every single weekend. I stopped. I got hired for gigs over the last month and I said no. So I sacrificed money. I took a break from social media and posting on SoundCloud. So that is less streams, you know. I even took a break from actually creating to understand what exactly am I creating? What am I doing? Am I just posting to for somebody to look at this and be like, yo, let me hire this person? So all of that went away. Females, even friends that are guys, like I pull back so much. I've literally just been in my house, radio, gym, in my house, radio, gym. That's it. And when you get back to that place where that is all you have going on, which is yourself, you realize that, yo, some of these things we have been weighing you down, you know. You know, it is getting in the way of things. And being in that down, it kind of make you realize that this is you. This is really you. To come back to the question I was asking before, like, what are the attributes of you? That's where you realize what you really are. Where you strip away as much as you can, and what are you left with? That is you. You're left with just that. And that is the story that I am telling now. I mean, yeah, you see the theatrics and the hype and the party rocking and the crazy wedding stuff. And I'll still create content, but it is mandatory that everything that I do from this point forward still has that in it, because that went away.
Strangely enough, I started reading a book last night called Atomic Habits. And the book is talking about if you could get 1% better every day. It drew reference to the British cycling team in 2003. You know, they hadn't won any major competitions for years, and they just started focusing on little details and building better systems. Not focusing on goals, but building better systems. And what I hear from you right now is you're building back a system. You know, you have the gym, the radio, and then there's slowly things that I guess you will reintegrate.
Yeah.
And in fact, by you being here at this podcast, because when you said it's literally gym, home, radio, rinse and repeat, that type of thing. So which brings us to the question, why you come here to this podcast today?
Well, first and foremost, Lyndon is a brethren. My dog. It's been a while that I wanted to do this. You reached out to me a couple of months ago about this. And, if we did the podcast back then, it would have been a different story. We could have come here and say, all right, guys, if you want to make it on radio or you want to become a big DJ, you got to practice, learn your music, network, build your brand, build your niche. And that would be the end. That would be the end. If you need any advice, message me, blah. But to do it now is to tell that story of over the last month. I was like, a lot of people could benefit from generic advice on being a content creator or being a DJ or doing podcasts or being a writer. But the story that I've been living through over the past month, I feel like there's one person that I can impact more than 10 people with generic advice, And it's not even advice, it's just telling a story. Somebody could take away something from this and be like, yo, I going through the same thing, but I've been there. I'm looking for an answer. I'm looking for a solution. I'm trying to get out of this because I wouldn't lie. Over that last month, I have lost count of how many times I've lost my mind. With looking at, what really going on here, boy? When you strip back all of these things, bro, and you just end up bare bones by yourself, you're like, dog, this is a mad scene. This is madness. And those are the things that you don't hear people speaking about. The dark side of being in an industry where you're kind of dependent on yourself, either as a content creator, it could be a videographer, no matter what it is. Once you are dependent on yourself, what you are doing, what you are creating is your livelihood. People will see what you're creating, see, yeah, man, yeah, you're a best writer, you're a bar DJ, you can rock a party, thing. But people don't really see behind the scenes and think that is it now. As in the picture that you paint for people, that is it. And I think it's very important right now to remind people that, we are all human beings and we all go through it. It might look real nice on the outside. You could appear as successful as you are in the eyes of others, but there is that messed up part of it behind it. Like, for real, I tell you, when you really look at it, bro, and I'll just use one thing for example, and one of the hardest parts of this for me personally, I'm not sure how it relates to other creators. Picture this, right? You go to a wedding or you go out to perform and you're on a stage in front of 100, 200, 500, 1,000 people, and you draw for every ounce of energy within you, not energy to be active, but for you to create energy in the room. That happens. At the end of the event, you're on this high, right? You're on a high because you're going in. Event's over. Good job. Dang, nice to see you. Shake some hands. Great. Blah, blah. Everybody goes on with their lives. You sit down in a car by yourself to go home to a house to be in a room by yourself. So you go from this high straight down to this low. And that is a switch that I've been flipping on and off for months. And that was one of the hardest things. Because when you get home and you're just in a room and it's like, yo, yeah, you did a good job. You make some money. But being surrounded by so many people and being, spending so much energy to come back and just be left with nothing for yourself, That was the hardest part. And that's when the loneliness is kind of slipping. And that is what destroyed me the most, honestly. That was the most detrimental part of this entire thing for me.
But as a DJ, because you have these different personas, right? You have a stage persona, this DJ KiddFrost, and then when I go home, I'm Mark, right?
Yeah.
But you think it's possible to have, because I do it with vlogging, right? for instance, Red Wall News.
Yeah.
There were times where I set up to record Red Wall News, but because it was a different persona character,
Yeah.
I just wasn't feeling it. I decided not to record episodes, right? When I kind of transitioned more into vlogging, I could have done two things. I could have said, hey, you know what? I'm going to have a vlog persona. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Da, 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 da.
Hey,
and
guys.
and then I said, no, but this is it doesn't feel like me. So
Yeah.
I just went with this is Lyndon. I chill, kind of rock back. I might even talk in a kind of monotone, excited. Even right now, talking to you, I am not consciously trying to have, like increase the pitch of my voice or song a little bit more excited. Is it possible to marry more Mark with DJ KiddFrost and say, or would that person be too tame for our wedding vibes?
Bro, yeah. So that is another struggle I would have had over the past couple of years, because it's two different beings, completely different, as in DJ KiddFrost is that. It's, yo guys, what's good? It's your boy DJ KiddFrost right here. We up. Yeah? I mean, party and I get energy. But then there's Mark who's just like, yeah, boy, Lyndon, boy, so you seen? Good? Going on, way?
Yeah, I know where you at my wedding. I know already.
Yeah, bring up the bride, bring up the groom. Yeah, boy. All ready to toss the bouquet? Oh, yeah, come now, come. Yeah. And then that hype, that I tell you, that is the energy. That is having that switch on for like a couple of hours and then switching it off to go back to things. But you can't have both. Like there could be a common ground for sure in the middle where you're seeing like both of them existing at the same time. But for a lot of people, and you said it correctly with Red Wall News, when you go into the Red Wall News, it's a character that you get into. And KiddFrost is a character that I get into. So I'm not KiddFrost all the time. There have been times when I went to events or I've been getting ready to go to events and I would tell somebody like, I really not feeling to be KiddFrost right now. Like I'm being very honest. I'm not trying to be the person that everybody likes or the person that everybody want to talk to or to go up on a stage and get on a mic or mix. I really not feeling to do that right now, nice Mark. It's like, yo, I really. So, because I so used, well, not really used, but accustomed like being on my own, I've gotten used to being on my own. Like I could just sit in a room by myself. I mean, it's hard, but I could be in a room with people and just say nothing. And just, like, yeah, I just in the shadow say, well, they're good thing, whatever, yeah. And it has been hard. It's really be hard. You just had to bring it. But if you can find a balance, I think I've been able to find a balance in terms of like day-to-day life. But it didn't make that coming from an event to just send that energy all the way down. It didn't make that easy at all.
How do you feel speaking about this right now? I mean, because you talk about used to being by yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like what your support system looks like as a content creator. I mean, you don't need to get into it. It's probably personal details, but professionally, is there any aspect of it that you think we as content creators need to put in place that we could benefit from each other when we're going through slumps like this?
Yeah, that is something that we need to work on for sure. I think, and this is gonna sound real bad, but and how to put this way? I'm trying to put this in a nice way that's not gonna make people want to chop off my head.
Well, I think once you don't call names,
Okay, I don't want to call names, but I'm going to describe a situation, and you could tell me if it's true or not.
Okay.
Or not. Or you could tell me it's different to what I think it is, because I'm going to draw a reference from my industry, which is the entertainment industry. Oh, I don't even have to paint a big picture. I just had to use one phrase. Crab in a barrel. That is the problem. Anybody that is in the same line of work as you, in the same niche or anything like that, it's unlikely that they want to see you above them. And because of that competition where the only person that should win is you, a lot of people will look at you struggling and be like, yeah, we catch him. We can make a run for him now. He's stuck there. And I don't know if it's different now, but that is the side of the industry that I grew up knowing. And the side of, I guess, the local market where you can't just reach out to somebody and be like, yo, I having a hard time, boy. And there isn't that. That was never established where you have people in your corner to go to get that support because, you have friends, you have co-workers, you have colleagues in the industry as well. But do they really have the capacity to help you out? I mean, you spoke about your experience and how much that benefited you. But did it really solve whatever problem that you had at the time? So that is the two problems. The crab in a barrel, the crab in a bucket mentality that a lot of people have. And I guess you're not really getting all that you want out of it to find like a permanent solution or to get to a solution. So what do you think about that?
Well, with regards to the crab in a barrel or bucket, there will always be that, regardless of what the profession is. And interestingly, the people, the line of work, the niche, as you call it, that you're working in, these people, they're your collaborators, but they're also your competitors. For example, I am on YouTube. I have a lot of YouTube friends, but when you think about the viewer going to the homepage, just to interrupt for the listener, you will be hearing some rain in the background. In Trinidad, we've been having some nice rain for the last 3 days or so from the dry season, so you'll just bear with us for a bit. When the viewer pulls up their YouTube homepage, they're going to see a bunch of videos by different, if they're watching Trini content creators, and they're going to make a choice to watch a particular video at that point in time. And if they choose my video, it means that I get the watch time at that point in time. So technically, you are a competitor because when you're monetized, but just like how you were speaking about, there are certain things I had to weed out of my life. One, you mentioned, companionship, male friends, male and female. You mentioned alcohol. And along the journey, what we quickly have to be doing is weeding out the people that we may turn to as mentors. So chances are, in that bucket of crabs, there's one crab without Gandhi. Without claws,
Well,
I mean, even what we're doing right now, Mark, is, I am no therapist. There are certain things you can't get from me. But just by having these conversations, there may be something that stands out as to maybe some strategy that Lyndon uses.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what my strategy was when I was going through that phase there in 2022. It was just to stop creating content. And you've done a version of that. Of course, you have to think about, what your main job is, what your source of income. So then there are certain situations where, for finances, so you can just have to push through the situation. And there's always going to be someone that has your interest. I love people. I love creative people. I think you could attest to that when we work in even a student lecturer capacity. And, in your industry, you're going to have people like that. My advice is to just, keep doing what you're doing. Your radio, your gym, attending the podcast, which brings me to my next question. And have I addressed your concerns, your question there in terms of you need to, so to repeat it, you need to keep looking because in your industry you're going to find someone.
Yeah.
And if you realize that person is not the one, you just kind of, you move along or you shelf it. Then you have to make the decision that, hey, there are different dimensions to my life that a colleague cannot help me with. So is it in my interest then to turn to another person in my support network? Is it mom, dad, grandparent, uncle, brother, sister, And if it is that those people still can't meet the requirements, then what is the next step in terms of professional help? Because these people would have the tools that they could use to help us as, content creators. My personal experience is that for me, stepping back from content creation is something that I need to do at times. That is what works for me.
I'll go add in, guys. Feel free to go to therapy. It's amazing. Just saying.
Yeah, you endorse therapy?
What? What?
All right.
Go to therapy. It's amazing.
So Mark, there's so much more that we could have spoken about today. SoundCloud monetization. But I think this is a really good place for us to kind of close off. And I look forward to meeting you at a location that is convenient to you in the future, when your frame of mind is at a place that, hey, I'm ready to talk SoundCloud.
Yeah.
I'm ready to talk content creation and monetizing. I thoroughly enjoyed this discussion. And I would love to hear, in closing, what would you like to accomplish for yourself, given where you are right now in terms of your, the obstacles, creative burnout, your journey? Where would you like to be in the next week or the next month?
Happy.
And what are you going to do to chase that happiness?
Right? Not saying that I'm unhappy, but, to get to that place of that ineffable happiness where you can just be like, you're okay, you're good. Because over the last months, or probably before that, more months, weeks, whatever, I gave up a lot and I stripped down and I got to this place where it's just me, just grinding, bone on bone. And that's not really the happiest place. For real. In the next week, so I recommence working this weekend actually. This weekend is the first event that I'll be doing since, I think, March. I've a very loaded summer packed coming up in terms of weddings and traveling and stuff like that. But I think having the one thing, honestly, that gave me through the last month the most was the gym. And it just remained consistent with us. I have an event coming up on May 19th, which is, think about this, right? That month I going through there, and I still planning an event May 19th. Commitment. Just make, no matter where you're going through, you still have to get up and get your stuff done. So, in the next week, this podcast, what's the date today? Today's the 27th of April, 2023, right? And this podcast is what we call a milestone in project management. This is the end of the last increment and the beginning of the next one to happen. So over the next week, next 2 weeks, next month, next couple of months, it's going to be stepping into that season while looking at the completion of this one and getting back to that place where, we're starting over with a project management company. So yeah, prioritization, focusing on what is in my life instead of what isn't. What is in my life right now is radio, work, gym, and the supportive people that are around me.
All right, Mark.
That's
well,
the focus.
DJ KiddFrost.
Boom.
Hype up the man. Bro, I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you very much for being so vulnerable, sharing your story. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have gotten a lot of takeaways from it. And I look forward. What I would do is in the show notes, I would put links to your different social media, your Instagram, and where people could find you on radio. So thanks so much for your time, sir.
Yo, thanks for having me. Shouts going out to Lyndon. Exceptional guy. Great project that you have taken place here. And keep doing your stuff. To the people that are listening, watching, viewing, however you're consuming this content, I hope that you continue fighting the battles of the struggles that you don't tell anybody about. You have a lot of strength within you, and you need to be reminded of that daily. We appreciate you and we love you. And yeah, let's get through this together.
Oh, and in closing, when you leave from here, you're going on radio.
Yeah.
What radio station you're going on?
I'm actually heading to...
Is it near for you to mention that?
Yeah. So I work on Lit 102.3 FM. Today, I will be working on Boom 94 because I also work there. I'm doing a shift today on Boom Champions 941. Yeah, I work on 2 radio stations. So I work on 2 radio stations, do weddings, I do just about any event that you could get a DJ for: weddings, birthday party, graduation. If you have a funeral with a vibe, I'll be there too. International stuff.
How would you introduce?
Wait, I'll find a way.
Wait. Let me say, like John Smith passed away, right? How you going to introduce John Smith?
Big up the dog John Smith. And I live on forever. See me? Well, the body are gone, but the soul I live on.
Well, DJ KiddFrost, may you live on forever, sir. Yeah, thanks.
So yeah, thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
Yes, and if you made it to the end of this episode, thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it.
Bye.